In 1974, a game designer named Gary Gygax created what would be known to the world as Dungeons & Dragons. Nobody was aware of the effect this simple tabletop role-playing game would have on the world. With each new edition gaining more and more of an audience, in 2024 D&D has more players than ever. But what is Dungeons & Dragons? Without making things too complicated, allow me to explain in more appealing terms. Around 5 to 6 people gather on a weekly basis to play what is called a campaign. The players create their own characters based on a variety of races, classes, and backgrounds. The players then roleplay as these characters and try to solve and push forward the story of this campaign. The Dungeon Master, or DM, runs the game for the players, creating the worlds and problems the player characters will face. The crux of this is that most of this game relies on the rolling of a variety of dice, ranging from 4-sided dice to 20-sided dice. These dice determine the fate of these characters within the game. The higher the number, the better the outcome. This basically explains the game, but it is a little bit more complicated than that. I've been playing D&D since my sophomore year of high school, when my friend decided to run a game for me and one other person. We had heard of the game and talked about playing before, but this was the first time we decided to sit down and actually read the rulebook. We planned a free Saturday, grabbed some snacks and soda, and played the game for the first time. I put quotations over played because we didn't really understand the game at first. We had trouble figuring out what the rules were, but that didn't matter. With what little we knew, we embarked on a journey into Dungeons & Dragons that would change all of us beyond anything I could imagine. For the first time in my life, I was pretending to be someone completely different. A hero with skills and vices, charisma and strength, trials and the power to overcome. As strange as it is to say, I was better than myself for a momentary 5 hours every Saturday. For the last 3 years, I've been running my own game at home. I've had a few groups that we've played in person, but since October of 2023, I've been running this campaign. I play with friends I met in college, and we play every Friday.
My character's name is Seven, and he is a changeling bard, meaning that his race is changeling and that he can basically assume whatever humanoid creature he wants. It's pretty baller in the world of D&D, and it lets you get away with a lot. He can also mimic anybody's voice that he wants, which also can come in handy. No, and the bard part, it gives him a endless list of spells that he can have access to, which makes him one of the most powerful people in the party in some aspects.
His name is Osric Hammerhand. He is a priest. He is an older gentleman who is actually much older than he appears, because he is secretly a fantastical race that no one really knows about in this area. I like that he's pretty wise, and he's done things he's not proud of, and he's trying to make up for that in his new life.
My character is Celosia. She is a young adult female tabaxi, which is like a cat person. She is like mid-size, pretty athletic. She's all black, except for she has like pink stripes, which is pretty unique. I mean, that's not like normal, so I don't know if I can cuss, but she's a badass. I think she's pretty cool. Yeah.
My character is Optune Fobrock. He's an Era Cochrane, which is a bird person, essentially. His entire family's been murdered right in front of him. It wasn't the best situation, but it really molded him and shaped him. The only one of his kind besides him that got out of it was his uncle. So that was the only family he felt like he had until he met the Golden Eye. If I had to decide a certain thing, it would probably be like the deep bonds that he has with the other characters in the story. I I feel like that is really what he builds on to be able to make his decisions, and he counts on them a lot.
The leader of the party is the man who has the most heart. He's the most heroic. 7 would say himself, but I'm gonna go and say Optune. He has a way of guiding us and keeping us as a family.
I think the person that I would consider the leader is generally Optune, just because he's the most vocal. Though I don't think he's the voice of reason.
I think that 7 wants to be, but he kind of makes a fool of himself sometimes. So I would probably say Optune.
I think that Optune is the leader of the party.
What if we pitch in? Like we're all gonna pitch in for the guild, for the boys? I say
I
that's
said that
fair.
too,
That's
yes.
fair too.
I don't know.
2 against 2.
You literally brought Bax with you
I said let's abandon him, and what'd you do? You took him in.
in the middle of the waste
Uh-huh.
after bringing him out
He's
of
able.
his nation.
Look, he's only dragging us down.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
I spend hours every week preparing for each game. It has become a great outlet for me to write and be creative. Being the DM has brought another side of the game to me that you don't receive as the player. As Dungeon Master, you don't just take on the role of one character, you are every other person or being the players will meet in the game. Not only that, you have the power to create what environment the player characters are in. Together, both the players and the DM create the story. Playing this game for as long as I have has brought me to a question. Why am I addicted to Dungeons and Dragons? I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. I think about the game all the time, and that isn't an exaggeration. I daydream about it during car rides, class, even before I fall asleep. What is it about this game that keeps us coming back to the table week after week? Is it the snacks? The friends? Maybe we just like rolling dice. Whatever it is, I'd like to find out.
I come back to D&D every week because I think it is a great opportunity to improv and have fun and just a means of escapism.
I think it's pretty fun, and I really like hanging out with all of my friends here, and it just kind of allows me time to just kind of be myself and have fun. I feel like I don't get much of that throughout the week, just working, so being here is like it's kind of relaxing, but not when you get playing, so.
I think it's a good escape, for one. There's the element of just being able to leave everything from the outside world at the door, and more than that, it's a place where you can connect with your friends and just have a good time for a while and not worry about everyday life.
I come back to the table each week because this, to sum it up in words that I would be able to understand, it's like drugs. Not that I do drugs. That's not what I mean, but it's addicting. You can be as weird as you want, and no one at the table is going to judge you for it. But you can also get to explore a side of you that you don't get to do on a regular basis. And that's what keeps me coming back, is that it just allows me to flex my creative muscles and really just get into a character that's not my everyday life.
Dungeons and Dragons isn't just a nerdy basement game. Okay, well, maybe it is a little, but it's a lot more than that. We get the chance to escape this boring reality into a fantastical world of magic and monsters. A world that I think anyone in their right mind would want to take a vacation to. A world that exists in our collective mind, telling our own personal stories at the same time. It's a strange way to connect with people that I've never come across before. You create strong memories with these people that take place in an imaginary world. D&D is an escape to us all, to the players and the DM. Without it, I don't know what I'd be doing. The whole reason I joined the film program was because I love writing stories for D&D. In conclusion, we escape to Dungeons & Dragons because it's fun. And fun is one of the most important part of our lives. It's kind of cliche to say, but it's true. These memories we make with our friends at the table are some of the most precious things a person can have. Dungeons & Dragons has brought me so much joy, and pain at the same time. But that's because it's so important to me. I genuinely would feel terrible if it ever came to a point that I couldn't play anymore for whatever reason. Thankfully, that day isn't today, and hopefully I'll have D&D for a long time.